Yo, what is going on, guys? Winter Kills here, and welcome to a brand new series. This is actually a new series that I've been meaning to bring to the channel for like the last month or so now. But in lieu of my locals actually being canceled, for the next 2 months or so, the process of it getting brought to the channel has been greatly expedited, as there is going to be a lack of one deck 1 month, and obviously locals feature matches are going to be few and far between. There will still be live duels with post commentary getting uploaded to the channel here within the next couple days or so. Hopefully by next week, you guys should have that to look forward to. Some of my friends will be helping me record some IRL matches here in my studio office. So very, very excited to bring you those when they get uploaded. But this is a series that I wanted to bring to the channel, basically where I go over in detail and analyze a lot of my dueling book rated matches in my journey to get high rated with various rogue decks, specifically with Speedroids for the time being, because that is my main go-to deck. And it is the deck that I will be playing a lot on the dueling book ladder. Of course, I will be playing other decks at other points, but right now it is going to be primarily focused around Speedroid. And I know that will basically determine, how interested people are based on what deck I'm playing. And I totally understand that, but I hope you guys will just enjoy the series regardless of what deck is sort of up on the table. I do want to give a shout out to Sir Eminon for giving me the idea for a series like this. I know he has something very similar on his channel called like Road to High Rated, something very similar. So huge shout out to Sir Eminon. And giving me sort of some inspiration to bring a series like this to my channel. I'll leave a link to his channel down in the description for you guys to check out. And I know you guys, I asked in a community post, a lot of you guys said you wouldn't mind seeing more duel analysis similar to the stuff that happens in one deck 1 month, where I go over my matches for my locals, obviously, which we can't do right now. So we're going to the next best spot to do that is the high rated ladder. And I also apologize this video is going up as late as it is. Nothing but technical difficulties trying to get this episode recorded. But yeah, I wanted to mention all that. Don't forget to check out the ways to support the channel down in the description as well by shopping on Imperium using my discount code or using my affiliate link to TCG Player as well. But yeah, let's go ahead and hop into our first match on the new series, Rogue to High Rated. All right, so this is the first match that we will be going over. My current rating, I believe, is about like 714 or so, 700 something. This was actually from a few weeks ago. The one I just recorded that I cannot upload now because the audio is terribly out of sync for some reason, was versus Dragon Link. This one is versus Swordsoul, I believe. We have dropped the Myco 4 at 948 rating versus me on 692 rating. And we're going to go ahead and go over this one. And he does win the rock, paper, scissors, so he will get to decide to go first. We have 40 versus 40. And in our opening hands here, he's got IO, Emergence, Driver, Chalice, and a copy of Mo Yi. And I have Imperm, Hound, Duplicate, Tekatomborg, and Nabir the Primal Being. A card I'm not currently playing in my Speedroid list. I'm opting to play Gozen Match instead. Because, it gives the deck a little bit of something that is unfair. Since, the deck is always locking itself into wins, let's lock our opponent into an attribute as well, right? It only seems fair to do so, right? And like I said, I know this is going to be basically tied around whatever deck I'm playing will basically gauge the interest for the series. But I hope there's some other things I can offer here in terms of just playing rogue decks in general that might be useful to people watching, as they may try to climb their way into the high-rated parts of Dueling Book. So yeah, I obviously lose die roll here. My opponent is going to go first, and this is Swordsoul, obviously. So this is a pretty easy matchup. I feel like there's not a whole lot to this particular matchup, at least in terms of hand trapping. I've found, hitting the normal summon with things like Imperm, Veiler, very, very strong things to do. The really only counterplay they have to that typically is the Heavenly Dragon Circle quick play. Very, very strong card for them to be able to dodge things like Imperm and, dodge things like Veiler, still let their effects of like Mo Yi, etc. to go through. But yeah, so he is going to go first here, and he's going to lead with the Mo Yi. Now, normally, this is something that I would Imperm, But I'm deciding to not imperm this because I have Nibiru and imperm. Now, this may seem a little greedy, and I'm sure actually imperming this would have ended his turn. Sure, he can use Emergence to go grab like a Long Yun, but he does not have any discards for it, so he'd have to basically just set, and pass. I'm basically waiting for him to fully commit to the board, where I'll fire off the Nibiru, and then I know the Baron that he's going to make is going to go ahead and try to negate the Nib, and then I'll respond with the Imperm, basically wiping the entire field. So he's going to go ahead and draw here and search, like, you know, the Swordsoul deck typically does. And very lucky that he drew into a Vishuda. I mean, it's not super lucky. He had Emergence as well. He could have gone and searched out a discard target for Long Yun if he really wanted to. He'll pitch the Vishuda and then get the token. Synchro into Baron. I'll take the 12. And then he's going to go ahead and set the order and set the Chalice. Actually, going to go ahead and hold the Chalice here. So still in main phase, we're going to fire off the Nib. And he's going to chain the Baron here. We're going to chain Imperm. So Nib Imperm, just completely wiping the field. It's one of the reasons why I really like playing, you know, hand traps like these together. Hand traps that sort of combo very, very well because they break boards like you wouldn't believe. Even the Tri-Brigade Leader Lust deck, that board is very, very strong, but a well-timed Nibiru and Imperm will out the whole field, or Nib Gamma, or even Nib Valor does a great job, again, outing the entire board. Like I said, I'm siding this now currently, but I'm still siding Nibiru, Gamma, etc., etc., and I still have the Imperms and Valors in the main deck, so if I need more going second firepower, obviously the goes and matches and stuff come out. And this is why it's like so crucial to play hand traps right now, because it's like a very, very good board, and like just an Ash or a Valor or, you know, a random Imperm might always not be enough. I feel like the general rule of thumb is you at least want to see 2 hand traps against a lot of the best decks to make an actual true difference here. So yeah, still in main phase, my opponent is going to opt to set that Chalice as he realizes he might need it. Also appreciate the fact that he realized he didn't need to use the Emergence whatsoever there. And then he's going to go ahead and pass turn while I'll pick up a copy of Wheel. The token stats have been calculated. Then we're going to go ahead and fire off the Wheel. This is something I probably didn't have to do. I probably didn't have to lead with Wheel. I could have leaded with Hound, and dumped a Gate, then Gate Summon, and then make a Rubber Band Shooter, and I could have just led with that and hold the Wheel for a little bit later on in the combo. Because like this goes in general for really good extenders. Like Wheel is also a starter, but it's also a very, very good superior extender that can let you push past you know, hand traps and interruptions. Very high impact hand traps like Nibiru, etc., can let you just play completely through those. And sometimes in a hand like this where I already have another starter in the form of Hound, it's not really necessary to actually lead with a card like this. I guess it just made life a little bit easier for me, hoping though I would roll a 3 or higher to be able to get 2 bodies on the field to get into my Link 2 Rubber Band Shooter without, you know, committing the normal summon. So we're going to go ahead and try to resolve it. He's got the IO, obviously, everybody's favorite trap card right now. We're going to go ahead and normal summon that. We're going to dump the Duke. Since I already have the duplicate engraved, there's no reason really to dump another Gate. And we're going to summon Tekatomborg here. And we're going to summon out the Red Eye Die. Red Eye Die effect. We'll go ahead and target the Hound. We're going to go ahead and make it a level 2. We're going to resolve the Cork Shooter here. Now, I could have easily gone into the Rubber Band Shooter here and banished a 5 to reveal Marble and Terror Top. And then I could commit my normal summon to my additional normal summon to whichever I get. And then I could go ahead and actually grab, per se, like a Car Turbo and maybe try to make more plays from there. I have the duplicate engrave as well still. So, like, there's, you know, there's a couple of things I could have done there, but I'm just going to go for the Cork Shooter, I guess, to apply some pressure here. And I think I was also doing this because I realized I could probably go for game, or at least get very close to going for game. So we're going to use the dice here, and we're going to target the Hound. We're going to make it a level 4. This is going to go for Hagoita, and then this is going to give us access to Crystal Wing. So now we're safe from any, you know, major hand traps like Nibiru. And then we're going to use Duke Engrave. So yeah, this is just going to be an OTK here. And this is why I like, you know, sometimes, you know, summoning the Nib token in attack, because especially in a deck like this where you have Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon on your side, Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon easily outs any attack position monster that has a level, such as this token here, and you'll be able to go over it for 3,000 damage every time. And we're going to do our classic Hagoita play, you know, with the Duke. Bring out the Hagoita here, and just synchro into a second Crystal Wing, which even if this isn't game, you know, our Swordsoul player is going to have a hard time playing through double Crystal Wing anyways as is, and he's going to see the writing on the wall, and we're going to go into a game 2 situation. And just really hoping I don't get with Protos with a Taie or a Baron on field. Yeah. So as you can see, my opening hand here is Wheel, Driver, Terror Top, Ash, and Butterfly. If only this was a copy of Gamma and not Driver, and my opponent opened up Ashina, Ash, Heavenly Dragon Circle, the Taie, and the Long Yun. So I mean, he didn't open up super stellar here. I mean, it's not a terrible hand, to be totally honest. Like, it's decent. This hand will definitely work. But you know, finding good value with this Ash is also going to be important as well. Those situations where you have only one hand trap, and you obviously want to make sure you use it in the right spot, in the most like advantageous spot too. Make sure we're not just trading 1 for 1s, we're trading 1 for 2, etc., etc. This is a hand where unfortunately Butterfly and Terror Top conflict, but you know, we don't always have to worry about getting Terror Top on the field. You know, via its special summon effect. Like, yes, that's nice, but sometimes it just doesn't matter. You can just treat it like a marble machine in this instance, where we'd spec out the Butterfly, then normal summon the Terror Top, and then get our searches and, you know, do our plays from there, etc., etc. I won't try. I'll try my best not to pause as often. I know some people kind of just want to watch it out as a regular game, but you know, I will interject every now and then with some you know, insight into what happens. So he's going to lead with the Ashina, and then he's going to go ahead and activate the Dragon Circle right now. And this is where I'm thinking, you know, this is a really good spot to go ahead and Ash, just because it's going to be a 2-for-1 trade here. He's down 2 cards, you know, and it gets hit with just 1. So now he's going to have to follow up with the Taie. Taie is going to go ahead and banish the Ashina Engrave, which is a really good extender for him. He's going to have to be forced to get rid of that. Goes into the Chi-Jiao here, and I would love to hit that with a Gamma. But obviously, you know, we do not have... well, I couldn't hit it with a Gamma here because it'd be chain blocked. But, you know, we would be able to hit the Long Yun with a Gamma if we had it. Which is what I would definitely Gamma Long Yun right now. If this was a Gamma, I would definitely 100% hit that. Because at that point, he has an Ash in hand with a Chi-Jiao on board. And, you know, to be totally honest, that's very, very, you know, easy to play through with the cards that we have available here. So he's going to go ahead and pitch the Emergence, which is fine by me. You know, basically pitching Rhoda to the grave. Summons the token. He's going to go ahead and use the Adara. Adara's going to add back the Ashina for next turn, so he has some follow-up there. Then he's going to go ahead and Synchro 10 into the Baron, activating the Long Yun since it was, you know, sent to the grave for Synchro material, and we'll take 12. And we draw a Tekatomborg for a turn, which is an insane draw. So now we have to play through 3 interruptions here, and it's definitely doable with this hand. We have plenty of gas, and I actually decide to lead with the Wheel. I don't know why I did this, to be totally honest. I don't know, maybe I thought because I was going to pitch Driver, my opponent maybe thought I had a Gamma in my hand, and that like he was going to take the bait with the Baron to negate it, or maybe use the Ash there and just fall right into the Gamma. I don't know what I was thinking. I should have started with the Butterfly, and then, you know, kept going from there. So he is going to Ash, and I guess that's makes sense too, because if he sees that -2 right there, it's very, very enticing. Them wanting to get that -2 on me is so enticing a lot of the time. And again, it just baited out Ash right there very, very easily. Unfortunately, the graveyard setup is not super good here with the Driver and grave. But I mean, it's not terrible setup because we can still use Gamma now. But he took the bait. He could not resist making me go -2 like I did to him on his first turn. So now we're going to spec out the Butterfly, and I guess it works out in my favor because now I have no monsters. I can summon out the Butterfly. Then we're going to summon Tekatomborg. He's going to actually let the Tekatomborg resolve here, which is pretty shocking. And then we're going to summon out Fukimadoshi Piper. We do use Piper. He's going to decide to negate the Piper here, basically negating Upstart Goblin, if you will. I guess it clears this level 4 body off the field because I could use the Butterfly effect to actually go ahead and... you know, increase this level by 1, and then Synchro 10 for a Baron of my own, then try to pop his Chi-Jiao. And then if he tries to negate, you know, I can negate, and that forces out a bunch of things. So he negates and destroys the Piper, and then I follow up by normal summon the Terratop, and he's going to let that go through, which I wasn't totally expecting here. But he probably also knows that I could just link into Rubber Band Shooter, and if he, you know, negates the Terratop, basically it's just free for me from there. So I'm going to get access to Card Turbo, and we're going to go ahead and actually Synchro here, Synchro 8 into the Kite Drake. And this is going to, I think, activate the effect to negate, and that will again force out his Chi-Jiao. And my biggest fear right now on his field is the fact that he has Baron. I don't want this Baron to stick around. I don't want him to bring back Tai. I don't want him to have a pop next turn. This is something that I want to get rid of. I also another thing I have to keep in mind too is I know he has Ashina in hand right now. So I don't want to completely clear his field, because if I do that, I give him a really good extender, because he can spec it to the board, link for Monk, and then use Ashina effect Engrave, summon out an Adara, summon out a, you know, Vishuda, etc., etc. And that gives him things to, like, you know, stuff to work with. So I can just leave something like the Chi-Jiao on field. You know, I don't have to worry about him having follow-up. I can make that card I know is in his hand dead. That's very, very important. It's a very small thing, but it's very important that I remember that. So we're going to go ahead and use the Card Turbo in the grave here, and I'm going to go ahead and just swing over the Baron, because I don't want to crash the Kite Drake. I'd like to leave this as, you know, link fodder. That's exactly what I'm going to do. We're going to go ahead and link those off into the Rubber Band Shooter. We're going to go ahead and banish a 5 here, and we're going to reveal Hound and Marble. I was like, wait, I didn't reveal Terratop, but Terratop's already engraved. And let's see what we get here. This is before they also implemented the actual, you know, resolve effect of Rubber Band Shooter now. And we get Hound, which is not the desired outcome. Even though, like, I think I got very, very lucky there, because I had already exhausted Tekatomborg and Card Turbo, I believe. So had I got the Hound, or had I got the Marble Machine, I would have normal summoned it basically to no effect. So yeah, I don't know exactly what I was thinking I was gonna do there. If I guess I just got very lucky. I guess I don't know if there was like something else I could have done there potentially. I mean, I guess one thing I could have done would have been to have banished a 6 and do Hound and Tekatomborg. And the reason I would do Hound and Tekatomborg is because if I got Tekatomborg, I could additional normal that, and then actually tag it out for like a Duke or something, which isn't like crazy, but at least it just gives me, you know, a body on field that I can use as an extender next turn if he clears it. But yeah, I get lucky here. We get the Hound. Hound is going to go ahead and dump the Gates. Yep, we're going to summon Gate. And I think I just synchro here for the Cork Shooter. And Cork Shooter is going to search Gate. So that 1-for-1 normal summon, like, it's a normal summon that gets me an interruption. Plus technically a body. And follow-up. Like, this is like why I love Hound so much. In terms of just being a normal summon, like, it's such a strong normal summon for what it gives you. I think it's very comparable to something like Alistair. We all know Alistair to be a very strong normal summon. We all know it to give you access to Mechaba, thanks to like Almirage and Secure Gardna or the Majesty Moon Maiden, etc., etc. So basically, 1 card Mechaba, 1 normal summon that gives you 1 interruption plus follow-up. Same thing can be said here. That's why I love Hound so much. It's just like, in terms of just like general, like, you know, how we decide if a card is good or not, like, this is like one of those cards that like checks all the boxes. The only thing that you could say that it is a detractor is the fact that it is a normal summon. So, we're going to set on that. We're going to pass. And my opponent draws IO. The Ashina in hand is still dead. And the Chi-Jiao on field does not do anything. Nothing engraved. So, he's forced to just go battle phase. And I was really hesitant here on duplicating this back. Yeah, so I let the attack go through. Because I wanted to wait till the end phase here. To bounce that back, because I knew I could get that off the field and make it much easier to play in the next turn. And I also if I were to prematurely bounce that, again, the Ashina becomes live, which I don't want to do, because he could go like Ashina, link into Monk, summon something, link into Shaman, Then he'd have to discard the IO and bring back like the tie A, and that gets him a play. And I don't want that. We draw Imperm here for turn, which is not crazy. We're going to use Hound, recycling the Terratop back, summoning another Cork Shooter, and then we're going to go ahead and link 2 into the Rubber Band Shooter here, banishing a 6 this time, and this is nice because I just put back the Terratop, so I can reveal that again here. One of the reasons why I love Hound in combination with Terratop. Looks like I get the Hound again, and we're going to normal summon the Hound. We're going to dump Duke here since we've already exhausted Gate. We're going to link up into the Auroradon here. Again, since I did not use my normal summon to get into Rubber Band Shooter, did not use my additional normal. You can kind of see where I'm going. I have the Piper and the Duke engraved. So we're just trying to set that up, you know, do a huge Piper for 5, big Excavate. And we're going to use Duke now. Duke is going to bring out the Piper, and we're going to go ahead and reveal 4 here, hoping for something big. We don't find, you know, any, like, you know, good, super good side deck cards. I mean, we see the Gamma, but it's completely dead at this point. So we're going to take the Tekatomborg. And we summon the Tekatomborg here. I was wondering if I was just going to synchro into the Baron yet, but I think I was going to go for the Charge Warrior first. And also getting access to Card Turbo, which is going to help me secure a game here if that set is a bluff. And it actually looks like I'm just going to synchro straight into the Baron instead of going for the Charge Warrior then into the Baron. I guess this is going to be more damage if I do it this way. And I still get to the same end board, I guess. Yeah, this is technically better because I still make Baron, and I still get the Charge Warrior drop, plus I get to keep the Charge Warrior as a body, and we draw into Valor. So we have Valor Imperm as, you know, backup if the Baron is not enough, and, you know, it is going to be enough because we have the Card Turbo engraved. That's going to boost all our wins by 800, so that's 29, 28, and 38. He's at 72, so that is just going to be game, and the IO that he has set is not going to be enough. So yeah, we end up taking the dub there. You know, shout out to my opponent for being a good sport. You know, throwing GGs in the chat. You love to see when there's GGs. You hate to see when there's no GGs, but you know, huge shout out to my opponent there. And I think that put me up to like 700 rating. I think a little over 700 rating. But yeah, overall, just to kind of recap, I think that was just an example of how, you know, just good hand trapping and good knowledge of, you know, these meta matchups, especially when you're playing Rogue. If you're going to play a Rogue deck, it's one thing to know, like, how to play your deck, obviously. But it helps so much more if you know the ins and outs of every deck that you're going to be playing against. If you, like, if the hand traps you're playing, if you know when and where you're going to be using those hand traps, especially in, you know, suboptimal situations where you're not seeing those good hand trap combos like we saw game 1 where we had the Nibiru Imperm. You know, if you only have an Imperm, if you only have a Valor, if you only have an Ashe, knowing the most optimal time to use those hand traps is very, very important. And, you know, doing something like this helps out a ton. That's one of the great things about Dueling Book. I know a lot of people don't really like Dueling Book, but it's a very valuable asset. It's something I, you know, came to grips with, you know, like the last year or so. This is a very valuable asset. You know, where do you have the ability to get in a ton of games against random people? And, you know, the more you do well, the better chance you have of playing against better players and learning more. And you can do it basically as long as you want to. You have unlimited games to play, unlimited things to learn about your deck and how other decks interact. I mean, yeah, you can go to locals week after week, but, you know, you might be playing against the same people. You might know who's playing who, right? You might already know those matchups. You might have seen them already 100 times. But you can go on Dueling Book, play against completely different people, and, you know, possibly learn completely different things when you hop on there and, you know, play those matches. You can play all day if you wanted to, and get those endless reps in. Not only getting better with your deck, but also, again, learning how to counter those other decks. Because a deck like Speedroid, a rogue deck as it is, you know, if you play it properly, if you learn the deck, you learn all the interactions, and then you learn how to counter other decks, and making sure you're playing a competitive deck list. That's another thing that helps out a lot too. A lot of people that play rogue decks don't tend to put hand traps in because they don't like hand traps, and I get it. You know, I've been there before. I understand. Not every deck can play 12 hand traps. Not every deck, you know, should play 12 hand traps. You know, not every deck, you know, even plays hand traps, like some rogue decks. It depends on what it is. Some play more board breakers. Some decks just have an inherent engine that lets them play through interruptions. where they necessarily would rather see more extenders than hand traps at the end of the day, right? I totally get it, but learning those interactions, learning those ins and outs will definitely help you. And learning how to, I think Speedroids is a good example too. Like, this version of the deck, like, has taught me more so of, like, being very conscious about what my opponent has and being able to take advantage and take early pluses in my combo. You know, so if I do get hand trapped, if I do fall victim to a very high impact hand trap like Gamma or Nibiru, like, I've already gotten enough out of the plays that I've already made to help myself play through them and to possibly still establish a board and leave my opponent being like, oh, was that a good spot to do that? Maybe it wasn't, maybe it was. And, you know, that leaves them in a state of confusion going into games 2 and 3. They still don't know exactly where to hand trap. Because if you build your deck in a linear manner, it's going to make people that don't know what your deck does, make it much easier for them to counter it just, you know, blindly. You know, they should get punished for blindly interrupting you. And sometimes they don't. And that's just the way it is. But yeah. I think I'm done rambling. I hope you guys enjoyed the first episode. If there's anything you guys would like to see change, any improvements you have, any suggestions, let me know down in the comment section below. And thank you guys so much for watching. I won't waste any more of your time. If you want to see more of my content, click on one of the videos popping on the bottom of the screen right now. And as always, Kill signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one. And last but not least, a special shout out goes to our Divine Level channel members, and they are Tweeter0226, Pony Stark, Cadillacs84, and Keith Sidgers. Thank you guys so much, as always, for your extremely generous support of this channel.